I'm Bobby Garrett, an associate professor at the University of Louisville. The motivation of this paper was to help established, mature corporations learn how to better handle their internal corporate ventures. Many years ago, I was a corporate employee and became a little bit frustrated with how some of the new projects worked there. And it always has been my research interest to help corporations make better decisions about their projects of entrepreneurship and innovation. So in this paper, we interviewed 72 different corporations on about 145 of their venturing activities. And we asked them to explain how their value propositions had evolved over time, where a value proposition is the intended basis on which the new business will appeal to its targeted market. And as you can probably guess, value propositions do need to evolve over time as ventures learn their way into the new business through experimentation. But too much evolution can also be detrimental to the internal corporate venture as they start to miss their targets and are rapidly evolving, well, too rapidly. The internal corporate venture's value proposition is primarily how it will compete and on what basis it will appeal to its targeted market. For a lot of corporations, what they're also hoping to achieve is some amount of learning. Not only the financial performance is of interest, but also how much the venture learns over time and can bring that knowledge back to the parent. So in this study, we used subjective measures of venture performance so that it wasn't strictly based on financial indicators. And we also had survey items to look at the evolution of the venture's value proposition over time. And what we found was an inverse U-shaped relationship, indicating that there is a certain amount of evolution that is ideal for internal corporate ventures, but if they evolve too much in their value propositions, that's detrimental. And we also use market familiarity as a moderator in that relationship, where market familiarity is how similar the markets explored by that internal corporate venture are to the markets already explored in the core businesses of the parent corporation. So the way we measured value proposition evolution for these ventures was to ask the venture operations manager, the person who's responsible for the day-to-day operations of the venture, to what extent did the value proposition evolve over time. We used summated scale scoring using 4 items that had a pretty good alpha coefficient of reliability, and developed the scales specifically for this study. The implications of this study for those practicing internal corporate venturing are to understand better how value propositions should evolve over time, specifically under varying degrees of market familiarity. For example, when market familiarity is high, venture proposition evolution is indicated because the venture supposedly already knows enough about the market to be able to make appropriate decisions about changing its value proposition. However, when market familiarity is low, meaning the venture has no relevant knowledge or expertise about the market it is exploring, any changes that it might make to its initial value proposition might be misinformed. And so initially that relationship is quite negative. And it's only after the venture learns a bit about how it should compete in the marketplace that is then able to evolve its value proposition in ways that are favorable. For those managers running internal corporate ventures, an implication of this study would be that they should be aware of what's become commonly called an entrepreneurial pivot. And they should be prepared to learn over time and allow that learning to change the way they orient themselves strategically to their intended market. Any sort of reluctance to change can be very damaging to the future performance of those ventures.